G'day guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Wildkard. Thank you for watching the Wildkard Rugby Show. Like, comment and subscribe. And yes, if you're a long-time viewer of the channel, you know that I enjoy this game very, very much. This was an absolute brutal contest in the scrummaging. The Highlanders was under the pumps, was under pressure, and the Reds sniffed a slight weakness, right? Out of the Highlanders front rowers, and they went for it. They were hungry, they were just absolutely ruthless and brutal, and it was just beautiful to watch. Ironically, he was a former All Black, Alex Hodgman. Alex Hodgman came off the field for the Reds, currently playing for the Wallabies. Just absolutely churned Saula Ma'u, the tight head prop, inside out. He's gonna be having like nightmares tonight, and yeah, it's just absolutely beautiful to watch. And there was one point where Damon Murphy issued a repeated warning, scrum collapse penalty warning against the entire front row of the Highlanders, and Damon Murphy, being an Australian referee, did not have the grapefruit to send anybody off for collapsing the scrum. I was so disappointed, especially there was one point where Ethan de Groot, one of the top 3, I think, loose head props in the world, was sent off for playing the ball on the ground in an offside position. I thought for sure there was going to be a scrum penalty, and then we're going to see 13 players on the field, right? Because of a uncontested scrum, and then next thing you know, we'll have Jeff Wilson and John Kerwin at the breakdown and having a blow up about this. I was looking forward to that, okay? And then Damon Murphy, right, just pretended he never gave the scrum collapse warning and just played on. Just like, yep, another scrum collapse, another penalty. No one's going off for this, because he realized he can't. He realized the Islanders has ran out of front rowers. If he had given a yellow card, especially on the tight hair side, would have been uncontested scrum, and he was gonna get crucified by the Kiwi media. But hey, you know what? It is what it is. The Reds, I was happy regardless that the Reds won the game in such a dominant fashion. And yeah, really happy to see Hodgman doing such a great job coming off the bench, being that finisher role, and his position in his position in the Wallabies is definitely looking up after this performance. That was just, that was outstanding. It was good around the breakdowns as well. Good defensively, not just the scrum. I thought it was a pretty big statement for him to put himself, put his hands up for a spot at the Wallabies, coming out of the Lions tour. Outside of that, for the Reds, I thought Tom Liner's kicking game was once again really good. Both teams were pretty keen to play the kicking game. I think the Reds was more than, the Reds kind of like managed them a little bit better than the Highlanders. The Highlanders was at the beginning really struggling at the breakdowns. The Reds will flood the breakdown, quick ball. Kleiny Thomas came onto the field today. No McDermott, and I thought he was looking very good today once again. Better than McDermott did last week for the entire game, in my opinion. And the fast breakdown was becoming a big issue for the Highlanders. The Reds were just able to rumble through for some early points, but then the Highlanders adjusted the defense. They were doing a lot of these things where they hold you up so you don't go down, and then try to slow the ball down at the breakdown. So the forward momentum, it's not just like snowballing as you were rumbling through. So that worked out for the Highlanders to kind of stabilize the situation. But yeah, not quite good enough overall. One of the big changes for the Highlanders, in my opinion, that really hurt them a little bit is the moving Tavatavanawai to the wing at the number 11 jersey. And you can see that Tavatavanawai was itching for action. He was moving into the field. He was, especially he was getting so close that he's almost like a forward, running, taking those crash balls around the rocks. And he was getting over the Evangeline. He was the only one that was probably like constantly breaking through the Reds defense or getting over the Evangeline in the Reds defense. And yeah, the fact that they moved him out to the wing might be a bit of a strategic issue from Jamie Joseph. And also without him at center field, not only the attack look a little bit soft, but also the defensively, the turnovers, the breakdowns, the threat of him being able to just pounce on it and get the turnover is a lot less. He was doing that as well. He's moved in field to try to get the turnovers, but because he's not like, in position at all times, the threat of that was much lower. He did get, I think, a couple of good turnovers regardless this game, but yeah, it was nowhere near as as threatening as if he was at 12. So I think it's definitely better for him to reconsider him back at 12 at some point for Jamie Joseph. So outside of that, goal kicking wasn't very accurate from Liner tonight. It was probably like one of the worst I've seen this season. And outside of that, I think the overall, outside of the scrum penalties that were given out, I thought both teams were. I thought the Highlanders were actually really good in their discipline, but the Reds was actually lacking a little bit, giving out quite a few penalties, silly penalties left and right. The back line for the Reds, I thought, was a little bit disconnected sometimes, maybe because there was a few changes to some of the players set up in the back line. There was a few passes that was kind of missing between the links were missing a bit between Liner and some of the players around him, but I think that's a pretty small issue. They can just patch up overall. But yeah, pretty happy with the Reds' performance. Solid scrum, solid line out. More the line out throws were a little bit off the Reds, but outside of that, I thought good defensively, good physically, especially those scrummaging penalties. Was so satisfying, especially considering Ethan de Groot, the All Black, one of the best lucid prop in the world. I was pretty happy with what the Reds have done to such a formidable opponents today. So really well done. Zanongo was excellent as well in the first half, and Seth Fa'angasi was really good too. So all the Reds front rowers were outstanding tonight, and very, very happy camper for me. So let's have a look at match stats of the game. 2 tries to 503 run meters to the 227 for the Reds. 19 turnovers conceded against the Highlanders, 13 against the Reds. Harry Wilson was really good around the rucks as well, with a lot of the carry games, and the Reds was, like I said, with Tavanawa out, the Reds was able to get that breakdown a little bit more than the Highlanders. 141 tackles made for the Highlanders, 17 missed tackles for them. 165 tackles made for the Reds, 27 missed tackles. I think Tim Ryan still needs a bit of work on his defensive. There was one situation where there was a deliberate knock on by Murray, and then there was a try scored by the Highlanders, and there was called back for a yellow card, deliberate knock on, because the ball had knocked onto a Highlander player who kind of like kicked the ball forward, which was fine, but then the Highlander player picked up the ball in offside position. So that was a beautiful try that was declined, but yeah, a little bit unlucky there. I thought probably could have considered a penalty try, in my opinion. Not gonna lie about that. Referee probably could have considered that for a penalty try, considering a try was scored, as a result of this. 17 kicks in play for the Highlanders, 22 for the Reds. 3 missed by Liner. This is probably the worst week for him, and there were some kicks were just were pretty shockingly bad today. But it is what it is. You're gonna have day offs, every now and then. And 1 line-out miss for the Highlanders out of 15, 3 out of 11 for the Reds. Like I said, the line-outs weren't that clinical. There was 1 scrum loss against the Reds. I think it was a early push, maybe early engagement for a short arm. But overall, this was overwhelming dominance for the Reds. They were just, when they got the penalties, they just go for the scrum and squeeze you out for another penalty and try to squeeze out a yellow card. So close, but not quite able to get the Highlanders down to uncontested scrum. And it was just that brutal. So 9 penalties considered for the Highlanders. It was probably about 4, maybe 5 at least penalties considered in the scrum. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if I actually wouldn't be surprised if it was more than that, like 6 or 7 penalties considered, just all scrum penalties. And then there was 10 penalties considered against the Reds. There was periods with the Reds just giving away a lot of silly penalties, which I think that the coaching staff will look into. So let's have a look at go through the points summary. So 4 minutes into the game, Reds already showing a lot of form momentum, lots of quick breakdowns. Kalani Thomas as well, just getting around his backs. There was a pick and go from Angus Blythe, and then got through a half gap and offload to Kalani Thomas, already in support, full speed, straight through for the try. 7 points to 0. 10 minutes into the game, there was a penalty for the Reds. Again, they went for the line out, they went for the maul. It was a nice little rolling maul. The Asiata, the hooker, goes in for the try. 12 points to 0. Lineup missed the conversion there. 14 minutes into the game, there was a real, this was the Highlanders getting a rolling on. Just before this try was scored, it looked like Sevu Uru got the ball on the ball. It was a turnover. The referee did not call it. There was a lot of pick and go right in from the goalpost. Eventually, Tavanawai crashed onto the defensive line and rolled himself over for the try. 12 points to 7. there was 25 minutes into the game. There was a penalty to the Highlanders. They kicked 3, 10 points to 12 to get themselves within 2. 32 minutes in the game, lots of penalties I considered against the Reds. Highlanders went for the line out, they went for the more. Really close, lots of pick and go. Eventually, Talea, the ball went out wide. Talea crashed through for the try. There was repeated penalty to the Reds. The Reds was on the verge of potentially getting out a yellow card here. Halftime score 17 points to 12. And just before this was saying the Murray did a deliberate knock on. The Highlanders scored as a result of it, but the player who picked up the ball was offside, so no try, but yellow card, and no penalty try, which I thought probably should have given as a penalty try there. Second half starts, the Reds put on some of their early forwards, and then things starting to kind of go downhill for the Highlanders. So 51 minutes of the game, there was a penalty to the Highlanders. They kick another 3, 20 points to 12, and yeah, this is kind of like a sign to me that the Highlanders are not trying to back themselves. You know, I thought they probably should, considering in the first half when they backed themselves, put pressure on the Reds, they scored tries, and then they're not doing it here. So 56 minutes of the game, there was penalty to the Reds right in front of the goalpost. The Reds like, we're not going to take 3. We will squeeze you until someone gets sent off. Scrum penalties after scrum penalties. Damon Murphy gave you a warning, but eventually the ball, there was another scrum. The ball kind of went out for the Reds backline. Dalgunu just find a nuts gap, goes through for the try. 20 points to 19. 60 minutes into the game, another penalty. Scrum, no yellow card after the warning. 61 minutes of the game, Ethan de Groot got sent off. Not because of the scrum, but because of cynically playing the ball in an offside position on the breakdown. Reds went for another scrum. Another penalty, no yellow card, but the ball went out. Good hands. Tim Ryan goes in for the try by the Reds. Is it Tim Ryan? Good hands by Tim Ryan. Anderson goes in for the try. Was it Anderson or was it Dalgunu? No, Anderson goes in for the try. 20 points to 24. 69 minutes of the game. This was a nice, pretty poor kicking game in my opinion. Just both teams kicking the ball straight down the middle of the field, and Tim Ryan got the ball for the Reds, and he just ran straight down the field. He found himself a little gap, a nice little offload after just as he was getting tackled to Harry Wilson. Wilson ran a bit, kicked the ball down the field. Dalgunu chasing up the ball, got the turnover, and then lots of pick and go by the Reds, and eventually there was a little gap where the try line is. Dalgunu picked up and docked the ball down on the try line. 20 points to 29, the Reds lead. After this, more scrum penalties to the Reds, no yellow card. Finally, 82 minutes into the game, I think that was the Reds line-out that was stolen, and then Highlanders just piled in. There was a penalty advantage. Couldn't quite get the try. Tavanavanawa was really close, and then eventually they went for the 3 points just to get the game, within 7 points for the losing bonus one, because they couldn't win the game anymore. Even if they scored the try, it would still be one losing bonus point. So they're just taking that with a 3-point kick right in front of the goalpost, and that was the end of the game. 23 points to 29. Really well done for the Reds. Really happy, especially considering some of the newer players are getting an opportunity here for the Reds. So really happy to see the results. Like no McDermott, like I said, no McWright, Fraser McGrath. So there was a few players missing for the Reds there as well, and I'm pretty happy to see this result, to be frank with you. So anyway, let me know your thoughts, guys. Like, comment, subscribe. Did you enjoy this game? If not, let me know why. And maybe just Jeff Wilson and JK, John Kerwin, gonna have a blow up anyway. Are they even doing the breakdowns? I haven't seen it for a while. But anyway, let me know your thoughts, and have a good weekend. Cheers.